Hi friends, this is NJ, your host on this channel. Finally the time has come when we are going to begin our discussion on astrology. So the syllabus which I have set for the next 6 months is thorough discussion on astrology, on graphology, the handwriting analysis and the tarot. So we are just going to take a quick break from palmistry because I have already put the whole syllabus of palmistry there on my channel. So you guys will always have this liberty to ask any doubts, any queries on all those topics which we have covered. Even I will ensure to on and off putting some kind of case study involving the palmistry. So it's not like that we are completely off from the palmistry, because at the time when I started my channel, why I started with palmistry, the only reason was at the time when I was undergoing the course and I was on a lookout on the information on palmistry. So when I was searching the information on YouTube, I just realized that the palmistry has not been given the justice, the kind of the way it should be presented. So that is the only reason I became a devil's advocate and presented it from my own perspective. But when it comes to astrology, very good astrologers are doing a very good job. They are like presenting in a very efficient way. See, the truth to be told, if I know that many of you would be already knowing astrology. So just like that, you are not going to get something very new or very revolutionary which you haven't heard before on this channel on astrology. It's just like that. My approach is very simple. It's devoted to all those people who are completely blank, who are completely clean slate on astrology, who might have started taking interest in the occult sciences from my channel, from the palmistry, and they even have this craving and interest towards knowing astrology as well. So my approach is very simple, presenting the divine science of astrology in a very simpler language. So let's just start our discussion on the very first topic which we are going to discuss, which is about having a discussion on the houses. A typical North Indian astrological chart. What do they mean? So right now we are not concerned about any zodiac sign in the house. We are not concerned about any nakshatra or any planet or any aspect on any house. We are just concerned about what do these blank houses, the vacant houses, represent. So this is going to be very first video. We are just trying to build our foundation on astrology step by step, layer by layer. So the topics, our discussion would remain to be on 4 parameters. We will discuss each house on 4 parameters. First would remain to be the attributes. What does each house represents? The signification. Second would remain to be the karakas. Karaka is a Hindi word for significator. So which is the significator planet which kind of acts as an indication for the functioning of the house. Then third would remain to be the medical astrology, the body parts as being represented by the each house, which would help you while doing the consultation analysis for the diagnosis of any diseases. So any affliction on that particular house, which body part would remain to be vulnerable. Then last would remain to be the spiritual connection, the learning, the extract, the nectar of the learning from each house, which if each house teaches us in this life. So let's just start our discussion. The first house which we are going to discuss, because any North Indian astrological chart gets read in an anti-clockwise direction. So this is the first house. Then this would be the second house, third house, fourth house, fifth house, sixth house, seventh house, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. So this is how any typical North Indian astrological chart gets read. These houses remain fixed, and generally what happens is from the first house going towards till the 7th house, it just represents the right part of the body of the native for whom you are doing the reading, and the left part of that native's spouse. I'll repeat, from the 1st to the 7th house represents the right part of the body of the native for whom you are doing a reading, and left part of that particular person's spouse. Going from the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, the first tilts from 7th till 12th house represents the left part of the body of the native for whom you are doing the reading, and right part of that person's spouse. Now when it comes to the first house, this house is very important. This is the beginning of your life when it comes to the attributes as represented by the first house. This house tells about your approach towards life, your health, your personality traits, your appearance, your complexion, your stature, your character, your fame, your dignity, how satisfied and contented you are with your place in this world. All that gets seen from the condition of the first house. Because the thing is, once you'll just start studying all the houses, you will get to know that some house will tell about your spouse, some house will tell about your brother, your friends, but it is just the first house which independently defines you, no matter how all other houses are strong. But if the first house is weak, it's just like that your foundation is weak. So that is the only reason first house is given a lot of significance in the divine science of astrology. So I will repeat, first house, your health, your appearance, your complexion, your personality, your character, your approach towards life, your orientation towards life, how you take the life, how contented you are with the life, with your place in this world. Some astrologers even look at this house for knowing, how the birth took place, about your birthplace, as well as how you came into this world, the beginning of the life. They also see the condition of the first house. Then comes the and when the health, like the way I have already explained. When it comes to the significator planet, the sun has been assigned as the significator planet for the first house, because sun represents your vitality, and this house just tells about your, chiefly tells about your health aspect. And when it comes to the medical astrology perspective, the body parts, so the first house first of all represents your overall body. It tells about your general health, your texture of your hair, your skin, your head, your brain, all that gets seen from the condition of the first house. Many astrologers even see the sleep and even the longevity, which is not completely true. The 8th house and the 3rd house tells about longevity, but yeah, many astrologers even see from the longevity's perspective the first house. Then comes the spiritual connection. So the thing is, because all these sciences are just a medium for us to evolve in this lifetime. So when it comes to the first house, because first house, the emphasis is more on the physical self, on the physical body. So the nectar of learning from the first house which we can take is that, like the way it has been believed in spirituality, that the soul takes birth to learn the lesson in this lifetime. So we all are not bodies, we should identify ourselves from the soul's perspective. So this could be seen as the learning of the first house, that we are not a body, we are the soul, which could be seen as a learning and remaining in the present environment. You just take refuge and try to find out this fact from any of the spiritual medium, any of the spiritual practice. They all have given emphasis on remaining in the present. When there is no chattering of the mind, there is no regrets of the past or the vision for the future. When you are right now at the present, that is the time when you are happy. We know which is the real nectar of happiness. So remaining in the present and identifying yourself with the soul could be the spiritual connection and the learning which we can take and extract from the first house. Then comes the second house. You have, this is your physical self, the body. Now the body needs to be fed, body needs to feel secured. So now comes the into the consideration the second house. Second house tells about your, first of all, your finances, or your savings. So when I say finances, it means your jewelry, bonds, money in your bank, all that can be seen from the second house. Your wealth, your finances, your savings. Then comes your immediate family environment, very personal, close friends, that we also see from the condition of the second house. Second house is also the house of your sanskar, your discipline, your virtues. Second house is also seen how an individual has been raised. You want to know about someone's early childhood, whether someone had a bad childhood or a good childhood, that all you can determine from the condition of the second house. Second house also tells about your your face. Second house mainly tells about, as because it represents your mouth, so it tells about two most important things. First of all, your food habits, what kind of food you like to eat, spicy, hot, stale, sweet. And this house also tells about someone's speech, whether someone uses nasty words whenever he speaks, or whenever a person opens his mouth, he just speaks out the wisdom. So all that can we see from the condition of the second house. So, and second house also tells about your servants, your close followers, any buying and any kind of buying or and selling, trading in ornaments, all that gets seen from the condition of the second house. When it comes to the karakas, the significator, so the Jupiter is the significator, the karaka of the second planet. When it comes to the body parts as being represented by the second house represents your your right eye, your face, your mouth, your tongue, your oral cavity, your nose, your nails, all that gets seen from the condition of the second house. Then comes the spiritual connection. So because second house, like the way I have explained, that second house tells about your virtues, your values. So many times what people have this notion that they feel secured because of the possessions, because this house is also of the wealth. So the more money they have, the house, the cars, they feel more contented, the more money they have in their bank. So the extract which we can take out from the condition of the second house is that an individual should strive more for the wisdom, because like the way I always say, soul takes birth to attain wisdom, to attain truth in this lifetime. So this is what the learning which one can extract from the second house for striving towards wisdom. So this is with the second house. And now comes the most individualistic house, which is the third house. Third house, to begin with, just represents first of all your courage, your valor, your potential, your capability. In Hindu astrology, the first house is also known as the Tanu Bhav, your body. Tan, your body. Second house is also known as the Dhanesh, the Dhan Bhav, the wealth house. The third house is known as by many various other names, like your Prakremesh. Prakram means your potential, your courage. Bhatri Bhav, the house of your brothers. So the third house first of all tells about your valor, your courage, your potential, your capability. Third house also tells about your siblings, specifically your younger siblings. Third house is is a house of subconscious mental stability or instability we see from the third house. Third house is also the house of desires, your hobbies you want to inculcate, and what all you want to do in order to feel fulfilled, whether some kind of leisure hobby, joining a gym or anything which you like to do, any kind of hobby, be it writing, stamp collection, all that gets seen from the condition of the third house. Third house also tells about your short journeys, which you take, just neighboring town, intercity, we see from the third house. All kind of short communication we see from the third house. Your neighbors and your friends also get seen from the third house. Third house is just because it's 8th from the 8th house. Third house is also seen from the perspective of longevity and inheritance. You need to understand that when it comes to the third house, it's a bit tricky house, because the ego you'll find maximum in this house, the self-willedness, the impulsiveness, because the karaka, the significator of this house is the planet Mars. So because here it was more about your physical appearance, here it was your inculcating values. But when it comes to third house, you will not find any kind of grace, any kind of higher wisdom. All what you'll find is chasing your desires, your desires, what all you can do in order to which is good for you. You're not concerned about sharing, you just concerned more about fulfilling your own wishes, no matter what others are thinking about you or how others are perceiving you. So this is all what the third house represents. This house also tells about your physical strength, your capability, your potential, all that we see from the condition of the third house. When it comes to the karaka, I have already explained the significator planet for the third house is the planet Mars. But it's little bit tricky. You'll find any book of the astrology, you'll find the karaka is Mars, but many astrologers even take Mercury as the significator of the third house, because of the communication involved, because this house is also of the performing with your body, your writing, journalism, publishing, any kind of communication, like the way I said. So many people even associate Mercury as a significator of this house, but you should imbibe and you should take Mars only as a significator planet, as a karaka of this third house. When it comes to the medical astrology, the third house tells about your throat, your neck, your shoulder, your arms, all that we see from the third house. Your right ear, all that gets seen from the condition of the third house. Your longevity, your your physical growth, all that, your upper limbs, your bones, all that gets seen from the condition of the third house. Why these karakas are important? Because if you want to see the condition of, let's say for example, someone's relationship with younger siblings, so first of all you need to check the condition of the third house, then which is the significator karaka of the third house, which is the planet Mars. Then you independently need to check the condition of the planet Mars, and then over and above that, the third house from the Mars also you need to check. So this is the reason why karakas are important. So whenever it comes about the wealth, you need to check the condition of the second house, and the karaka, which is the planet Jupiter, you also need to check the condition of the Jupiter also before landing to any conclusion. So this is all about the third house. The spiritual connection, the spiritual learning which we can take from the third house is because this is the house of your mental instability, stability, subconscious, as well as of desires. This is the house of desires. So the extract which we can take out from this house is that rather than chasing your desires, your hobbies and your interest, one should strive towards chasing towards the truth. What is the truth of this life? So that person can take as a learning from the third house. When it comes to the fourth house, this is our fourth house. Now comes the question, first of all, what all are the attributes of the fourth house? Fourth house first of all tells about your mother, you know, first is mother. Then this house also tells about your land and building, any kind of, you know, professions where people are dealing with sale and purchase of land, real estate, that gets seen from the condition of the fourth house. Then, you know, vehicles. In older times, you know, all the possession of cattle, horses, elephants were also seen from the condition of the fourth house. Fourth house is, you know, in older times were seen as the house of, you know, hidden treasures, and, you know, the titles and honors and recognition from the rulers, all that get were seen from the condition of the fourth house. This house tells about your amenities. In short, this house just tells about your peace of mind. You know, this is the house where you feel at home. You are at home. Your emotional strength, your capacity to attain peace in this lifetime gets seen from the condition of the fourth house. This is very important house because, you know, second house was the Artha house, third house was the house of desires, the Kama house. This is the first of the Moksha house. So this house is very important. How nurtured you feel, your capacity to attain peace, or the comforts and discomforts of the life, clothes, jewelry, all that gets seen from the condition of the fourth house. So this is about the attributes associated with the fourth house. When it comes to the Karakas, the Karaka for this house is, there are two Karakas, significator planet. First being the moon, as we know that moon is your mother, and second is the planet Venus, because, you know, this house represents your vehicles, your cash, you know, your jewelry, not cash, rather vehicles. So vehicles has been represented by this house. So that is the only reason all kind of comforts, luxuries, amenities get seen from the condition of the fourth house. That is the only reason Venus is more suited as the Karaka significator of this house, contrary to many people who even ascribe Mercury as the significator of this house. So in my research, I can recommend taking planet Moon and the planet Venus as the significator planet for this particular fourth house. Then when it comes to the, from the medical astrology perspective, the body parts as being represented by the fourth house are your heart, your chest, your breast, and the lungs. Lungs get seen, and all these body parts are seen from the condition of the fourth house. And I have already told you when it comes to the Karakas, so any point of time, see, if the fourth house is afflicted, that doesn't mean all the affliction of the all the signification attributes of the fourth house will be afflicted. If you fourth house is afflicted, you want to check the relation with the mother, you need to separately check the position and placement of the moon in the chart. If the fourth house is afflicted, you specifically want to look at someone's prospect of vehicle, then you need to check the condition of the Venus independently of the fourth house, and the fourth house from the Venus. So this is how an assessment in astrology gets done. When it comes to the spiritual connection, so the fourth house, see, our inner level, our outer happiness and our success is just a reflection of how content and peaceful we are from inside. So one should strive for, you know, just, you know, getting absorbed in the cosmic love, in the, you know, higher spiritual truths, rather than just chasing, you know, towards vehicle, towards, you know, possession of land, more real estate, because this is not where you are going to get the final ultimate peace. So this is all my take on the four houses of the astrological chart. I hope I made myself very informational. For further more updates and notification on astrology, not palmistry, astrology, please subscribe my channel and like my Facebook page. Thanks.